Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 24 of the Lack Thereof podcast. I am here with my co-host, Mr. DJDubC, and we have a amazing guest that transcends everything entertainment, all genres, everything that I've ever loved in the world, Mr. RayonBase. How are you, sir?
I'm great. Good to see you both.
Good to see you as
it's
well.
Can I kiss you? Can I kiss you? Can I kiss you? You say no, you say no, you say no, then maybe.
Let me be the breeze in your sunny day. Let me be the sky for your clouds. Let me be the pool for your waterfall. Let me be the verb for your nouns. Let me be the shore for your crashing waves. Let me be the bricks in your wall. Let me be the soil where your garden grows. Let me be the one. Let me be the one. Let me be the one you truly love.
How sweet this life we have, think some. Other folks aim for the paradise to come. Dude, take cash in hand, forget the rest. 808 so loud you feel it in your chest. I may not be the best, but I'm better than you. I've conquered all the rest, and I'm better than you. No need to be obsessed. If I'm better than you, hey, get it off your chest. Say I'm better than you. Forget about the rest, 'cause I'm better than you. No wonder you're depressed, since I'm better than you. Dude, I'm gonna wipe you out. Just get out of the way. Haters get no traction. Yeah, I just ignore them. They won't get no action. Yeah, I just ignore them.
for anybody who isn't familiar with your work and what you produce on the side or as a career. Let us know. What do you got going on?
Well, I usually try to stay busy. I've released 4 albums, which are essentially compilations. So rather than hold back material until I have an album-sized chunk to release, I release my songs individually and then put together compilations once I have 8 to 10 tracks.
Yeah.
I'm 4 tracks into album 5 at this point.
Nice.
And I've been enjoying kind of trying to develop myself because I take piano lessons, I take some vocal coaching lessons and stuff. Recently
Yeah.
started taking a new online course in bass guitar,
Really?
and I'm really not very good as an instrumentalist, but
Yeah.
you can do so much with the computer that I kind of fudge it a little bit and have fun.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
We have similar backgrounds. I know for me is like I try to do music, but I have not known. I didn't know anything, so I've kind of had to self-produce a lot. And I
Yeah.
know that I've witnessed through your journey, you've kind of done a lot of that yourself. And I've seen, you've been playing piano, I think you said for like a decade or so now.
Yep.
I've witnessed, you go from where you were to where you are now, and I've got to say, I'm fairly impressed. I like it. Um, Specifically, I want to reference one of your songs called "Aspen Leaves," I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
The piano on that, was that written by yourself?
Yeah. There are a couple exceptions on cases that I've done collaborations, but
Mhm.
in general, I write my own lyrics, I do my own performances, record, produce, engineer, release,
Yeah.
A true
graphic
musician.
design.
Nice.
There's almost literally nothing related to my releases that I don't basically do myself. The
Yeah.
videos, I often get asked, "Oh my, who do you impose upon to take those videos?"
Yeah.
And in
I think
general, those are taken with a tripod. There's a few exceptions. A
I
couple
was gonna
times
say,
people
actually,
help me out.
I was gonna say, with the exception of Aspen Leaves, I think I have a note here. I noticed that there was possibly a camera person in that one, so I was wondering about that. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
Aspen, yeah,
that one I tried something a little different when I took the video. My videos are very low budget,
yeah,
0 essentially, and I just work with what I have. And that particular day, it was kind of breezy, and I wanted to capture something, like leaves blowing around in a big
mm,
tree. It was autumn, of course,
yeah,
and I took a tripod and some bungee cords and kind of temporarily attached the tripod with the camera to a bicycle, and then my wife wheeled the bicycle tracking me while I was walking, and it was my
Oh, nice.
unfortunately it wasn't the greatest shot, but it was a dolly shot, as they would
Yeah.
call it in the
Yeah.
film industry.
I loved every second of it. And I guess kind of to piggyback off of your filming locations. You're based out of Minnesota, I believe. I think that's what I've heard.
Yeah, I'm
I've
based in
fallen
St. Paul.
St. Paul. Yeah, I've
Okay.
actually fallen in love with the area. I like a lot of the footage that you shoot, but I can tell that you travel a lot. Um, is that intentional for the music videos, or is that just happen to be like just a part of like, oh, you're already on a trip, let's just knock this out?
The latter. In general, when I do, like, I've done location shots in Texas, Florida, New
Hmm.
Mexico.
Nice.
I recently took some video in Canada, and it's just one of those things where I'm there. It's kind of like the song is going to come out soon, and so I figure,
Yeah,
well, I'll just try to use the location for as much as I can get from it. Um,
yeah,
People have commented in the Ever Closer video, for example, that I'm sitting on a walkway and I'm kind of using my hand back and forth to
yes.
touch the walkway, and actually it was just sandy from the wind. And for some reason, I was just kind of rubbing the sand around, and it's all pretty much spontaneous and not
Yeah.
very
You get a lot of
professional.
like on the fly kind of like this would be a good opportunity. Like I think I forget which video it is, but there's a moment where it might be the Ever Closer, I'm not sure. When you are, I guess like, there's a construction site behind you. You just
Oh,
I imagine you just seen that and we're like that, you know what? That would be a good opportunity to put that in the video.
yeah, I think the one you're referring to might be Take Me Home.
Take me home. Take me home. Oh, I like Take
Yeah,
Me Home.
and
Yes.
that was a case where there was a big backhoe working on a
Uh-huh.
nearby site with a bridge or something like that.
Yeah.
And I
Hmm.
really felt like I was probably pushing it in terms of safety, because I was trying to get close enough so you could really see the backhoe.
Right.
Yeah.
And um, I sometimes crib a bit or inspire myself from MTV type
Uh-huh.
videos.
Yeah.
And I think if there's one thing that I try to imagine when I'm working on videos, is to try and have an interesting visual
Yeah.
background
Definitely.
of some sort.
Yeah. Well, I
Which
love
is
it.
I do love it. And it is it's you brought up Take Me Home, which is a very good song. I had a question and I don't know if you want to answer it, but you use a still image of a African American man playing chess um in the video. Is that video fully released somewhere that I can find? Or is it only the portions that I can? Because I've searched trying to find like full videos. I don't know if they've been taken down, or if these are just previews for songs.
Well, there's kind of two things out there. When I release my music to YouTube, you can find the full song on YouTube, and it's called what they
Mm,
call an art track.
yeah,
Probably
Hmm.
a term you're familiar with. In the
Yes.
art tracks, they simply take the cover art, and the video is just a picture of the cover for the entire track
Right.
with the music of the track.
I
Um,
gotcha.
those are the only videos I have that are full length. Um,
Okay.
Making videos is one of those things where you can get some good statistics,
Hmm.
particularly from YouTube, on viewers' habits. And a typical video, the average viewer might watch it for 17 seconds.
Yeah.
That's true.
And I've had a number of people ask, well, aren't you going to do a full video? And I've definitely considered doing a full length video for Ever Closer, because it's one of the more popular songs I have. It
Yeah.
Okay.
leads the way on Spotify. Um,
Definitely.
but I keep reminding myself that like on YouTube, there's a 59-second limit. If you want to
Hmm.
be a so-called short with the vertical aspect ratio, and
Hmm.
Yeah.
with the videos, you kind of have to think about, okay, what's the medium this is going to be observed in or watched,
Yeah.
and
Definitely.
I do think that when people are enjoying music and they want to also enjoy a video with it, nowadays they're not looking at the horizontal aspect
Yeah,
ratio,
Yeah.
right?
landscape versus like the vertical. Yeah.
The TikTok view, yeah.
Yeah, TikTok
Yeah.
view for sure. I know that's something that I think Ronnie and I have struggled with as well, because being I guess quote unquote content creator, someone trying to like put stuff on the internet, I so many times through his streams, I know that he's always working to like try to format it to look at like in a mobile setting.
Mhm.
And I've went through it too for my music videos that I've tried to make. But I've never found like a clear way to do it. So I always just have to like crop on my own video and just everything gets lost, which is a struggle.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think one of the tactics that I've used in a few cases, if I'm really uncertain, I'll actually do a square format, like the old Instamatic cameras had.
mhm.
Okay.
And that's just, a brutal compromise. It's not going to look good at either format, but it's not going to look horrible either.
Yeah. Um, through all your music, you mentioned one of your more popular songs was "Ever Closer," I think is what you said. And I really do like that one, but I want to hear the story again for our viewers. I know that you've said it before, but I like this song, and you probably already know. "Can I Kiss You?" I spelled with an EYE.
That is a good
Um,
one.
This is a earworm in my head, my family's head. We all listen to you in my family.
Wow.
Like this song specifically gets stuck in our head. "Can I Kiss You?" Can you go in a little bit about inspiration for that song, and were you trying to write a banger, or was that just
Oh, he's
on
always writing
accident?
bangers.
Yeah,
All the
everything.
songs are bangers.
Yeah.
In general, I don't think too much in terms of somehow trying to exceed or beat a previous song in terms of popularity or things like that. And there's a very simple reason, and that is I've proven a number of times that a song I think is going to be very exciting and interesting or strike a chord with the listeners and, not be any significantly better than some other song I did. So I kind of just decided that I'm going to make songs that I enjoy. Hopefully they're interesting for people, and see what happens.
Yeah, I respect it for sure.
For
There's a
sure, yeah.
lot of really good lyrics that lead to really good like stories almost, I think.
Yeah, I do think in terms of creating a short story, and it's almost always fictional. People are very inclined, from what I've seen, particularly if they've got some sort of video visual that reinforces the lyrics and stuff. They're very inclined to think it's all a true story, that everything happened, and that like a song like "Goodbye Karen" is about me,
Yeah.
breaking up with somebody, and it actually is not at all about that.
Yeah.
As a
You
matter
do a
of
lot of
fact, there
putting
is no
yourself in their
Karen.
yeah. It's like putting yourself
And
in someone's shoes, it seems like a lot of the
Right.
time.
yeah, and I kind of stumbled into something which people really glommed onto the term Karen, which in popular culture refers to somebody who's apparently entitled,
Yeah.
among other things.
Hmm.
My grandma.
Well, grandmas have maybe kind of earned it, so I don't
Yeah,
know.
no,
Yeah.
they definitely have. They've definitely earned it. Yeah. I know I said that, and my grandma's great. She's not even like that. I'm sorry.
good.
I don't think she
Good.
watches, but I just in
Well,
case.
I think one of the reasons why it touches a chord with people is because everyone can think of someone or see behaviors where they feel like, oh, here's a person, and in this case, because of the terminology, female,
Mhm.
that is just kind of unconscious or,
Yeah.
unaware, you know. And it's a relative thing. I mean, you can always find someone who's better off or worse off than you, right? So,
Mhm.
Yeah.
but you write a song and you just kind of stumble into something where all of a sudden people are saying, "Oh, this is for all the Karens out there," and I'm going like, "I didn't even know about that."
Yeah. People make their own connections for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. back to the song "Can I Kiss You." Um, I've been writing songs kind of since my college days, but "Can I Kiss You" was the first release that I've done since I started working with computer, uh, specifically digital audio workstation software. And
Mm.
it just continues to amaze me what you can do. Sometimes it's time consuming with
Yeah.
the VSTs and relatively inexpensive software and things like that. And in the Twin Cities here, Prince is a local legend, and he always did stuff with his titles, song titles,
Hmm.
where he would put in the letter U for the word "you" or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It's like little
True.
Easter eggs almost.
Well, yeah, well, and I think what he was doing was he was also uniquifying the title so that if you knew about the Easter egg, as it were,
Yeah.
then you would search for it and it would be um, easily distinguishable from
Yeah.
similar songs.
That's
And
true.
if you do a search like on Spotify or through Google for the song title "Can I Kiss You," it's actually been used many, many, many times.
Yeah, yeah. That's a
Yeah.
smart way. I feel like you're pretty well in tune like with like analytics and understanding your audience. Um, would you agree with that?
Yeah. My audience is actually a little hard to generalize because there's just a ton of variation.
Yeah.
And I do feel like the people that resonate with my songs that are big listeners um, are pretty adventurous in terms of what they're willing to listen to, what interests them.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's some folks that are like, they have a genre that they enjoy, or music was
Unwavering.
frozen
Yeah.
in time when they were 19 or whatever.
Yeah.
And, but there are a
That's
lot of
Ronnie
people.
for you. Yeah, he's just the same thing. He still listens to Wheels on the Bus.
Hey, if it's a good,
Well, if he was
there's a
on
good
the bus
version.
when he was 19, I respect it.
Yeah,
If there's a good version, why not?
yeah.
Yeah. So, with "Can I Kiss You," I was kind of thinking back lyrically to the feeling you have when you're like a teenager and there's no good place to go to make out, you
Yeah,
know? And
Mm,
so it's just this phase where the hormones are kind of raging in one's system,
definitely.
or and hopefully there's someone mutual on hand.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
the hope,
sh-
the mutualness, the part where I think you repeat the "Can I kiss you" a few times, and then, but maybe is my favorite. I think my favorite line of the song because it's like you're trying to get somewhere to someone who's hesitant. And I know there's a connection. It probably has been spun your way through comments of someone implying that like, oh, they're pushing more than they should. But I've witnessed you talk about it in a much broader sense. What you mean by that?
yeah, well, I think there's a term that was popular years ago called puppy love, and I don't think it's very accurate, or it's certainly not used much anymore.
Yeah,
But that was the feeling that I was trying to convey in the song of and there are some people, we all know this, that their attitude towards a locked door is to keep pushing on it or knocking,
yeah,
and
yeah.
and it
maybe
works.
it'll
I
open
mean,
up.
it works. Just be there. Just yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I decided to do part of the video in a playground, and
Mhm.
there are some folks who had snarky things to say about that. And
Yeah, yeah,
my
Yeah.
experience has been that um, I just kind of ignore anything that seems
yeah,
just off color or whatever.
for sure.
I was trying to
Yeah.
evoke a sense of innocence, and
Yeah,
people were injecting creepy
they
stuff
run they
into
run with
it.
it with their own perceptions of what's going
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
What
So
what
I really have no control over if people are going to perceive something as more racy or whatever than it
Yeah,
is. And in general, with
Right.
my music, I don't. I'm not Isaac Hayes writing songs about how much I'm going to love somebody.
yeah.
My "Take Me Home" is the closest, I think, where I was imagining a fella that was hanging out in a bar, and maybe a sketchy bar, and looking for the affection that he's not going to get.
Got you. I got
Nice.
you. Let's see. I do have like a list of. I wanted to play like a little game with you, see how well you know your own lyrics.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's not really a game, I would say, but it's more of just me wanting to highlight some of my favorite ones that I've heard.
Sure.
So I'm gonna say the lyrics. I want to see if you know what the song is, and then
Okay.
say what you mean what you say. Don't use double negatives, or worse, a double positive.
That's
from
from
the-
I Get It. Although
That is
there's
from
two
I Get It.
versions. There's the Nango
Yes,
remix
the
as
non-go
well.
remix. Yes. And I did want to ask if what your preference was. I know obviously both your songs. They probably love them like your children. But do you like when these remixes are kind of changing the tone of your the master audio files?
I've gotten a huge amount of enjoyment out of working with collaborators, and particularly Nango.
Yeah.
Nango's helped me with the I Get It remix, which they created from stems that I gave them. If you're familiar with the term stems, they're basically the components of the song, kind of one instrument on a line, you know.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
when they remix it, they can like emphasize one part of the instrumentation or vocal than the other. And Nango is just a really experimental artist. And so
Oh,
the remix
absolutely.
was something that basically was built on the stems that I produced with the original song, but I did none of the production, none of the engineering, none of the
Yeah.
programming. That was all Nango.
Well, I mean, while that shines
Wow.
from on their technical aspect of their music, we were just listening right before you joined the call. We were listening to Drawbridge of Sighs,
Yeah.
um, and you exceed masterfully. Lyric. Do you write the lyrics on these collaborations?
Yeah, one thing that's kind of surprised me is when I get contacted, and it does kind of ebb and flow a little bit. Sometimes I get more contacts than I can really fulfill.
Yeah.
There are other ones where I have plenty of time to work on it. But when I get contacted, the most often thing people are looking for is the vocals and the lyrics that enable those vocals.
Yeah.
And it kind of surprises me a little bit because, in some sense, I think of myself more as a songwriter. And I am a musician in the sense that I do a lot of computer programming. I play some live instruments that I record and include in the songs. Sometimes I blend them together. And then as a vocalist, I've definitely been working on my skills, but I'm not Burt Bacharach by any stretch,
Yeah.
you know.
I'm gonna pretend to know who that is, and but I want to say, like, through your lyrics in everything that I've seen you do, it does seem like you spend a lot of time, at least like with your storytelling or creating. And I wanted to ask you a little bit more about the song "Lament in an Apartment." I think is what it's called. I believe
Lament in A flat.
an A flat. There, yeah. Look at me. I said an apartment, but it sounds. I think I was referring to like the British version of an apartment. They call them
Yeah,
flats.
well, we know the British have a different word for everything, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Like the boot.
Yeah, right. And I'm sure Ronnie, like, he's a great editor. He's gonna probably put some audio files of the things we're talking about,
For sure.
with your permission, of course, so people can get context. That song is very sad. Lament in a flat. I just kind of curious, like we talk about putting yourself in people's shoes. But that song specifically, I think, has this tone to it that makes me very depressed. Is that what you were going for?
Yeah. Talk
Yeah.
about putting yourself in someone else's shoes. I have kind of a somewhat distant friend or friend of a friend that went through a really tough time for various reasons, economic, etc. And they really felt over and over again like no one loved them. And that's what they most wanted, was to be loved.
Yeah.
And yet they had kind of gotten to the point where they weren't being a very lovable person themselves, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
what I wanted to kind of reflect on in that song was that if you're just kind of pathetic, then the love you're seeking isn't going to find you in some sense. You're going to turn
You-
off people.
You
But
get what you give
Right,
type
yeah.
of thing.
yeah, and it's written in a minor key. It
Mhm.
happens to be written in the key of A flat. So that particular title is actually a intentional pun.
Yeah, I
Wow.
like puns. Big into the pun world.
Yeah.
Yeah. So rather than lament in an apartment, which was probably equally, relevant in some sense.
That's
I
like that's
decided
like the
to-
parody version that Weird Al Yankovic would made.
Right.
That's like
Maybe.
yeah, he would he'd be like he'd make that version.
Well, I'd be thrilled if Weird Al wanted to adapt or parody one of my songs, because that's how you know he really made it as an artist.
Oh, definitely. Well, DJDubC here used to do parodies in
I
his
did.
in his youth. Yeah, he used to
Yeah,
make
when
a little bit.
when I was younger, I did parody music myself.
Yeah, it's definitely really high caliber stuff. Very beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm occasionally surprised when people listen to one of my songs and I'm thinking of it as more of a serious, or at least a piece of music, and they're
Uh-huh.
quick to say, "Is this satire? Is this real? Is this
Yeah.
satire?"
Mhm.
And I find that question very difficult because basically, to me, it's real. It's not satire.
Of course.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to,
Push people away
shove my
from-
viewpoint down other people's throats.
That's a good point.
Yeah, oh,
that's
yeah.
that's true. Yeah.
Ronnie, go ahead with your question. This one is perfect. I like to put him on the spot like that.
Okay. Well, first I want to ask you, who are some of your like favorite musicians?
Oh boy, it's a long list.
You can go as long as you want.
I'm a big fan of some modern artists, like particularly Adele and Taylor Swift.
Great.
And I'm also a fan of like Bruno Mars, Will.i.am, the Black Eyed Peas. A lot of my music, I've harkened back to the 80s. If there's one band that I would highlight, it would be New Order from the 80s, but there's so many other great ones.
I get that.
Mhm.
Bizarre love triangle type stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I've never released it, but the first time I sat down with the computer software and tried to create a track, I did a cover version of Blue Monday by New
Oh.
Order.
That's a
Ooh.
great song.
Yeah.
And that's a killer song. It's 7 minutes long and stuff.
Mhm.
And it's just got so many moving parts to it. I happened to record the vocals for my cover version, and part of the reason why it's unreleased, when I was recovering from pneumonia. So the vocals are very rough.
Oh.
Oh.
And
It's
the
got like a
vocals
grittiness
on the
to
original
it.
song are delivered in such a deadpan. It's hard to duplicate what that sound is like.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely.
Nice.
I like other artists like the Beatles and ELO, Oasis, a lot of 90s artists,
Can't go
including
wrong.
Smash Mouth.
Yeah.
And you draw
I go back
inspiration
to-
from. So you draw inspiration from a lot of them. I can tell it in you kind of
Yeah.
transcend genres. Like you go back and forth, and I think it's really cool and creative. But through all of them, which one do you think you kind of hone into the most?
Yeah, I kind of wanted to know that too, actually.
I don't know. Actually, the Electric Light Orchestra has so much great music.
I agree.
They do.
Hmm.
Most people only know, the song about sunshine,
Yeah.
Mr. Blue Sky.
Mr. Blue
is the name.
Sky.
Yeah, Mr. Blue
Yeah.
Sky. My son loves that song. It's his favorite.
Yeah.
I love that song too.
Yeah, and Jeff Lynne, who was the main vocalist and composer for ELO, was a huge Beatles fan and incorporated so much of their music as well,
Yeah.
or emulated it. I'm also a fan of some great artists from the 1930s that did jazz, like Benny Goodman,
Okay.
Nice. Okay.
Barney Shaw.
I
Cool.
like
Yeah,
that.
so for example, when I wrote Woodside Hotel, I was kind of imitating or interpolating some great drumming that was done by Gene Krupa in the song Sing, 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 which goes back to like the 30s or 40s.
Okay. I won't make
Nice.
you do it, but I would love at some day to see you do the dance from Woodside Hotel or the shimmy or whatever whatever it's called.
Oh, well, If you find the video clip for that song, I actually do the dance in it.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do see it. I had a question about that song actually. Let me find it real quick. Was your original plan to film inside, but you just couldn't get in?
Here's my original plan.
Okay.
I
For
had a
context,
friend.
he's outside of I guess I don't know if it's actually the Woodside Hotel, but it's just like trying to pull on the door, can't get in. So I'm just curious.
Yeah. So, fun fact: if you want to catch me filming videos for my songs, go somewhere at about 5:30 in the morning.
Oh, no, really?
Because that's often when I try to find a space that's not gonna, or I'm not gonna be in someone's way, or get a lot of raised eyebrows. Hopefully,
Yeah.
there's no one there to see me.
I got you.
Yeah. Well, was this so? My location is one of the filming locations of A Certain Lack of Caution, right here. Was this part of it?
That's
you
Lower
there?
Town St. Paul.
I believe so. Yeah, I was doing a little bit of looking around, trying to pinpoint some of your filming locations. This is the one I know for sure was one of them.
Yeah, there's an area that's just across from a train and bus station known as the St. Paul Depot, or the Union Depot. And some of the shots were filmed just right there by the depot.
So any of our Minnesotian, what do you call Minnesotites? What do we call them?
I'd say Minnesotan.
Minnesotan.
Minnesotan?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you want to catch Mr. RayonBase, go at 5:30 in the morning. 'Cause,
Exactly.
I would love to see it. I'd love to be in a video.
Yeah, so along with my theme of trying to find interesting backgrounds, I was kind of driving randomly for a while, actually a little ways from where I live, and found a spot where it was kind of like I don't know what you'd call it. Not really a community center, but something like that.
mhm.
And I knew they were closed. So my original conception for the video was I actually thought I might talk a friend of mine into getting some volunteers together and doing the line dance as a group.
Oh, that would have been great.
Yeah. That would have also been logistically very difficult to do. And I decided to just kind of fake it in a sense by
Yeah.
pretending I got locked out of the hotel.
Yeah. Okay, good. My intuition was there. Okay, good.
Yeah.
I do like it. I like the portion of the video too, where it's kind of like a musical breakdown, and you just write on the screen. I didn't know what to do. Yeah, which is great.
Yeah. I think in acting they call it breaking the third wall
Yeah, yeah.
or fourth
And you,
wall.
and you do that. I feel like you play a little bit every now and then with some of your, I guess, on-screen text. I mean, maybe through some of your lyrics, but I feel like you do break that wall every now and then.
Yeah. Lyric videos are one of those things where I think if you'd asked me in the early days, how valuable is it to put the lyrics on there? I would have thought, well, there's ways to find lyrics to songs online.
Mhm.
But what I've kind of found is that, particularly like when I put out a version of Ever Closer, the video
Mhm.
with the lyrics on it, I was being a little experimental and I used different fonts for different phrases in the song. And I got so many comments about the fonts that I decided, okay, lyric videos are the way to go.
Definitely. Do you type them all out yourself, or do you use like a third-party program?
I do it myself.
Oh, no
Most of the
way.
lyrics are short enough that by the
Yeah.
time I got something to like speech to text, it would be,
Mhm.
much effort.
Ronnie's favorite song. We're gonna go into that one. I'm gonna read these lyrics. You gonna tell me what song it is? Okay.
I do have a question about this as well.
All right. No wonder you're depressed since I'm badder than you. Dude, I'm going to wipe you out. Just get out of the way.
Well, of course, that's the Swagger song.
Swagger song. Yes, it is.
I love that
And
song.
that is a wonderful song. And Ronnie, I think, had a wonderful question on
I
this.
do. I want to ask. So, like, what inspired that? Did somebody just like make you mad one day, and you were like, you know what? I'm gonna write this song, and without saying names, you don't have to say names, but like, did somebody just inspire that one day?
Or you can say him and we'll track him down.
Yeah, we'll track him down.
Yeah.
You were just like, you know what? I'm better than you. I'm gonna make a song about it.
Well, it was kind of two things. Yes, there were so many comments in a couple cases,
I was wondering if it was the haters.
and I decided that in general, when comments come along that I think are just beneath me as an artist, I just don't even respond.
Yeah,
I
For sure.
ignore it
Yeah.
completely.
Of course.
So I wanted to capture that feeling of saying, look, the haters are only enabled if you try to say,
Yeah.
no, I didn't mean to kiss her or whatever, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, denials don't work, in other words.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not even
So I
that
just
long
feel
ago,
like
you mentioned. Oh, go ahead.
I feel like ghosting them is so much more appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say you just mentioned not so long ago about you were confused or you were surprised that people thought it was satire. I think you bring that up in Swagger song as well.
Yeah, this ain't
from
no
if I-
satire.
Yeah,
Right.
this ain't a
Yeah.
satire. And, maybe that
Yeah,
should
and
be. Yeah.
what's kind of hilarious in a sense is that there were comments when the Siger song video came out. People were saying, "Is this satire? Is this real?"
Yeah. Oddly,
Because you didn't listen to the lyrics.
Right.
Yeah. No, I am serious. This is real. I feel like it really puts you in a place of power. Like I feel like that song is empowering in a way for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is that I've gotten encouraged at various points by various people to do more rapping, and I
I mean
think
that gateway of or drawbridge of size. I think that the rap in there has definitely sold me.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the breakdown in there is a little bit more philosophically interesting than a typical thing where I
Yeah.
say, look, I've got all these hoes, I've got this big mansion, you should see my
Yeah.
crib, I drive a Lambo, none of which is true, of course.
Mm.
We got you. Sure.
Right.
Right.
Right. But there's it's such a huge part of the hip hop oeuvre, if you will. Their
Mhm.
particular brand is all about bragging about the stuff they have and how rich they are and things like that.
Yeah.
And the Swagger song is my version of the same thing. It's
Yeah.
basically saying, you know what, just get out of here because nobody's like me. I
The
can beat you
ultimate
at my
diss
game.
track.
I love a good diss track.
Yes. Very good diss track.
Yeah, and I don't have to point at Kanye or anybody else to do the diss.
No, I think
No,
in
no.
general. What's cool about it is it builds yourself up versus really knocking someone else down, which is
Right.
really good. Which is really good about it.
Yeah, well, I definitely, went in terms of the instrumentation towards what I felt was kind of like maximum attitude. Like
Yeah, maximum attitude. Yes, I like that maximum attitude. Let's see here. In the song, "Where Do I Go Next?" This is kind of going back to you traveling a lot. Well, not really. You mentioned that what rhymes with Albuquerque. Do you regret now that you didn't think of the word turkey?
Hmm.
no, not at all.
No, no, because you right before that you rhymed like Wisconsin with Portland, Oregon, which I thought was a nice little rhyme. I just thought Albuquerque and Turkey would have been nice.
Yeah. Oh, well, first of all, I've never been to the country turkey.
Oh no, that would have been.
But one of my goals of that song was to only include places I've actually been to personally.
Oh, okay. I used to live in Albuquerque. I've been to that wonderful. What is it? The hot air balloon festival. It's a nice place.
I go
that what-
to the Albuquerque Balloon Fiesta almost every year.
Balloon Fiesta. That's it. Yeah, it's
Okay.
nice. We may have been there at the same time at one point in time.
If you look at the videos for Drawbridge of Size, you'll see the Sandia Mountains in the background in some cases.
I did notice that
Wow.
actually. I was wondering. It's hard for me to because I was looking for this background. I was like, okay, where is he? And then I was learning that you are everywhere. Ronnie, go ahead with your next question, sir.
Okay. Let me
He
think.
doesn't have to. I'm just messing with him.
So where did you mentioned like graphic design and stuff? Where did your love for graphic design come from and everything?
Well, I think I did some bad things early on. And a relative of mine, who I won't name, basically said, your cover art just isn't that great.
Oh,
I thought, crap.
the
Okay.
nerve,
Wow. Hmm.
the absolute nerve of them.
Like one of the things I actually put out really early on um, was a very brief TikTok video, maybe 45 seconds or less, for the song Laminar Flow. And the entire video is just kind of a Photoshop picture of a balloon from the Balloon Fiesta, kind of near the Sandia Mountains with some sort of clouds around it or something like that.
Ooh.
And it was a pretty picture, but it didn't make for much of a video. But
Yeah.
that was kind of my first thing I put on TikTok.
Okay.
And after getting the commentary from someone whose opinion I respect, I decided to work harder on it and find some inspiration from other iconic album covers and things like that.
Hmm.
I have kind of not done some things that are fairly common, like putting some beautiful gal on that's totally unrelated to the song. And,
Yeah.
you know, I remember an anecdote once where Herb Alpert, who was late 60s, early 70s masterful band leader and trumpet player, he did a song or an album called Whipped Cream and Other Delights.
Whipped cream.
Ooh.
Okay.
And if you go look up the cover art, you'll see why it was popular. There was a model who was kind of up to about here in whipped cream.
Got it.
Oh,
Got
wow.
it.
Very
Wow.
nice.
There are some
very
people-
nice.
There were some people who loved the music so much that they kept the album cover and didn't play the record, you know. But
Yeah. You hang it up on the wall.
Yeah, let's turn it into posters.
Maybe in like a man cave type thing. Maybe.
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
So, you know, I try to avoid some of those kinds of things, even though it's tempting sometimes. But,
Mm.
you know, the album cover that probably has gotten as much interest as anything else, and maybe it's partly due to the song, is the song Shelter.
I like that song.
Mhm.
I like the ooh, ooh, ooh. I don't know how to do it as good as you, but I like that song.
Yeah. So, on the store where I sell merch like t-shirts and stuff, well,
Yeah.
let me give you a look.
Yeah, I think I've seen it. Yeah.
Nice. I have checked out the merch.
Yes, we've checked out, and I will be purchasing some merch.
Oh, great.
I don't know what it is yet. I kind of want that. It looks like you have like that leather jacket almost.
That jacket is nice.
That jacket is nice. Is that available on the? It'd be nice.
It is. Yeah.
Ronnie's familiar with making merch as well. As you can see, his hat has
I have a
his
hat
name on
and
it.
a few shirts and some sweatpants as well. So I know what
But he
that's
makes
like.
he makes a lot of 1-for-1s. They're just for himself.
Not all the time. These are
Yeah.
available for purchase.
I admit that I have occasionally ordered what I call samples.
Mm.
Oh, yeah,
And
just
then
testing
used them
out.
in my videos too.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is there you do a lot of videos? I wore this specifically, like a nice little suit jacket type thing.
I know I
you're-
should have
you're
worn
kinda
mine.
yeah, you're dressed nice in a lot of these videos. You're either dressed nice or you're dressed late for a meeting. It's one or the other. So
It's the story
Is
of my
that-
life, I guess.
yeah. I assume that like this is one of those situations where it's what you were already wearing that day.
You know, in some cases that's true, but in general, I take some care with the wardrobe, and often I'll bring along a change of clothes, kind of like, you know, anybody who's been through senior pictures, you know,
Mhm.
they'll say,
Yeah.
like, okay, bring 3 different outfits, and, you know, we go to
Yeah.
the park and we just take lots and lots of pictures, and
Right.
that'll justify the egregious price that the photographer charges or something.
Yeah.
And actually, like in the video that I did for here, I changed the t-shirts kind of line by line as
Yeah.
part of the video,
That's
including a couple SpaceX t-shirts and stuff.
Oh, I didn't catch that. That would have
Yeah.
been nice.
So I just think there's a lot of different looks one can have. I did avoid wearing a tank top, although on my merch
Come
site
on.
I have a tank top.
Come on,
It
bring it.
sounds
Let us
super
see
long.
it.
Bring it out.
Do you mind
But
switching
Bring
into
out.
it right now? Do you mind switching?
Hang on a second.
Let's go.
Oh my! Oh, what a like, lack thereof
Let's go.
exclusive.
Let's go.
Man, I'm so happy that this is happening. This is great.
There
Ah,
it is.
wow. Look at that.
Nice.
Suffer Long. That song's good. Suffer Long. I think I have a question about that.
Oh, that's so good.
That's nice.
Oh, I figured out how to handle that. I put on a long sleeve white T-shirt underneath it, so that way
There you
people
go.
can see my farmer tan.
Yeah.
Very familiar with that.
I wish I was. I don't like going out in the sun. What was I gonna say? Suffer Long. That's a good. Is that when that's the one you're sitting in a chair, I believe?
Yes.
Outside.
Yes. Yeah, it's actually it's in the same vicinity where I did the Aspen Leaves.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, and I decided.
I've noticed a few times there's like callbacks to other videos. It looks like
Yeah, I decided to take a chair with me, and then I took some little flags that you use for like sprinkler systems, and I
Okay.
put them in kind of like a octagonal arrangement, and then I moved the tripod around in a big
Nice.
circle as I did each subsequent shot.
Yeah.
And again, I kind of changed outfits a little bit, and you could see differences in the angle of the sun. It was a little bit sunny that day. I got a couple of really strange looks from passersby.
They're the worst. Don't even don't. I did a video once where I interviewed people on the street, and
I love
I'll
that
never
video,
do
by
it.
the way.
I'll never do it again.
I always bring this up that I love that video.
Yeah, but yeah, I had a hard time. Everybody that was around me either thought I was like some high key production and they wanted to be a part of it, or they thought that I was just some crazy person that had no business being on the street. So there was a mix.
I had kind of an similar experience when I was doing my video for Young and Free.
I was going to ask about Young and Free. One of my personal favorites. I love it, but go ahead.
Yeah, so that particular video, it happened that I was kind of batching it that night, I think, and there was a carnival not too far from where I live. Well, it was, maybe 8-9 miles or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I had planned two things. I was going to take some video for Young and Free, and I had some previous video that I was going to combine with it. And then someone had requested a happy birthday video for their boyfriend or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And so when I was shooting things and trying to wish this person a happy birthday, a bunch of teens were there and they could not stay out of it.
That's what it
They
seemed
just
like.
emotionally and physically were unable. And so I said, okay, come on over. Let's sing happy birthday to this guy.
That's what they're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
I almost thought they were actually mimicking the words "young and free" because the way that the sound goes over it, I was like, did he get a group of people to sing this song?
That would have been even tougher because, first of all, they don't know the song, and second of all, it's in the middle of a carnival.
Yeah, it was. It was just added to the mystery. I was just wondering how was this possible.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things I really like about the video is that it's very spontaneous. To me, at least, it seems so much like people just, being themselves and having a good time, even when they're done singing the happy birthday song and they all walk in like opposite directions.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that just makes it so fresh looking.
Yeah. They were young
It also
and free.
happens to be a video that has generated quite a few comments about
I was gonna bring it up.
underage,
Yeah.
people being in the video.
Oh, I didn't consider that perspective. I just was wondering, like, with the lyrics of what they were, and then being at the carnival, the coincide. I could see a potential for people taking it the wrong way.
Yeah, well, and I think everyone's had that feeling where they realize that getting older is inevitable, and
Mhm.
yet they want to kind of push back against it.
Yeah.
And,
I get the
and
message of the song, but I also listen more than just the 20 like you said with the analytics.
Right.
Yeah, but like the lyrics, what is it? Because it's one of my favorites. It's Let's go mess around. Yeah, I love you, you love me. Let's go mess around. And there's like, I need you, you hold me. And it says, don't make a sound. Um, that paired with the children, with the, I guess the people at the, I could see. I've read a few comments. I was like, no, they don't get the message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the limitation that pops up more than occasionally is that the video is short, usually less than a minute,
Mhm.
and so people don't have the context from the other verses.
Yeah, like all the puzzles the puzzle you were doing, and yeah, there's a lot more to it than just that.
Yeah, and the puzzle thing was just purely, I would say, laziness on my part. You know, like,
Oh,
oh,
you
what can I
really?
shoot that would be interesting? Oh,
Well, that's my favorite part of the video because you do this.
yeah,
You do a little lean back and a clap, and it just fits. So you're in the zone puzzling, um, and
yeah,
you were pretty far into that puzzle, so I'm guessing that's a hobby.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what I liked about it was that when I did the clap, I was able to look at the song and find the spot where there was a clap in
Timing.
the song.
Yeah,
So I
timing is good.
synchronized that musical clap with the visual one.
A little trade secret for anybody out there wanting to film video mixing with songs. It's hard to line things up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, and another thing that kind of makes me laugh at times is that people assume that I actually record onto a track that I release the same audio that I would have gotten if I filmed the video and took the audio from the video. But
Oh, they think that it's all done like live.
yeah,
How
yeah,
would they even think that? That's great. It's insane.
yeah. I mean, you and I both know that when people
Yeah,
make music videos, it's completely, utterly mimed.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just
And it's hard to
cannot,
recreate too.
That's true.
you cannot get studio quality sound on location in many
Mm-mm.
cases, unless you've got like a Hollywood production crew to help you do it. You know,
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
standing around with huge baffles or whatever.
Right.
Just as a funny little quick thing. So like I've had to mime my own music. When you're out doing it, do you actually say the words out loud or do you just mouth it?
I'm usually singing along with the recording of the track.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you heard me sing it, you'd say, gosh, I'm not sure he's the one who recorded the original track.
Yeah, they might think you still had that pneumonia from from back on that other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's certain notes that are just tricky to hit, like the one in Can I Kiss You or even Shelter, where we're going up an octave or a sixth or something like that.
Mhm.
And if you were to walk by while I was miming / singing along to the recording, you would realize that somebody needs auto-tune now and then.
Yeah. Well, you haven't done a lot of that, I've noticed. I don't. Maybe you have experimenting. I know you've done a lot of vocal, like, and I wouldn't even say enhancements, but more just effects for a lot of your songs, because your voice already has like this kind of like deep. I guess tonally, it almost sounds like an
Yeah.
effect on its own. So that mixed with an effect, I thought kind of blends well.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm familiar with the music of Ian Curtis, who unfortunately died pretty young and under tragic circumstances. And he was the singer for Joy Division before it kind of morphed into
Oh.
being New Order. And they had to move on as a band. And he had kind of a baritone, and sometimes my voice gets kind of compared to his.
Yeah.
There's certainly other people out there with a similar range. In the song Ever Closer, I intentionally used a vocoder, which is sort of like an auto tune, but it's not really designed for the same purposes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I was
I like
kind
how
of
you
imitating.
Yeah, I like how you decided to during that part you announced that you're using the vocoder. It says it on there too.
Yeah, there's 3 verses in that song that are very similar to each other, and the first one is pretty much straight. The middle one has about half and half vocoder in my voice, and then the last one is about 80% vocoder mixed with my
Is
voice a little bit.
is it the "Let Me Be the Breeze in Your Sunny Day" that portion?
Well, so I put out multiple videos on that one, and each one's from a different verse. So if you
Oh,
look at
yeah.
version 3, that's the one with the heavy vocoder. Version 1 is the one without the vocoder whatsoever.
Okay, that's cool.
Another song, Laminar Flow, there's an intro piece where I use the vocoder to make a very robotic sounding voice.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah,
It
it
was
seems
fun to play with. That's
Oh,
an
yeah.
I bet.
influence of ELO.
Okay. Very nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I only have one more question, and it's not even going to be one that you probably want to answer. You look like you could make a mean chicken salad. Do you have a recipe that for us? Or if you were to, I guess it's more of a broader thing. I want to know, and I want to start doing this with all of our guests, Ronnie.
Okay.
If there was a recipe that you had that you would like to share, whether it be a chicken salad or whatever, do you have one? And we'll call it the RayonBase.
So here's my RayonBase specialty.
Ooh.
I happen to own something that's called a pizza stone.
Oh, okay.
I'm not
Okay.
sure if it's kind of a regional thing or whatever.
Heard of it.
But I use it for virtually all of the oven work that I do, whether it's a pizza or reheating a sandwich.
Okay.
It's ceramic. It's the size of a pizza. It holds heat really well, and it helps the crust become nice and crisp.
Okay.
Okay. Nice.
So I would say, if you want to try something the RayonBase way, maybe consider a pizza stone.
Okay. So we
Okay.
could just put anything in there and we're doing it RayonBase style.
You could put chicken breasts on it, to enhance your salads or whatever. So
That's
I like
good.
that.
So
I
you
like
don't
that.
have a chicken salad recipe.
not really.
No.
If I were tasked with providing a chicken salad, I would probably buy some chicken breasts, broil them, and then slice them up and put them on top of like one of those kits you get from Costco
Oh, yes.
with all the lettuce and stuff in them.
Yeah, those are good. Are
Oh,
you a
that's great.
Costco man or a Sam's Club man?
Good question.
More Costco.
Yeah, I'm team
But-
Costco. I
kinda
can't do
figured.
Sam's Club.
Yeah. Sam's Club is great for some folks. I don't have any problem with it. I just don't tend to shop there as much.
No, you should have a problem with it. They are not living up to what Costco can do. That's
Yeah.
one thing if there's any hot take I have on this podcast, it's that.
Make sure your viewers know.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I did have one more question. I was looking through trying to find one of your interviews because there's one that I think it went missing with Muzzle and Tough. Did they?
Oh, I have not looked lately to see if that's out there yet.
I was just gonna ask if they're haters because they don't. I can't find the footage. And you wrote on there
know
that they're
what?
the guys that don't wear shirts, and
They are guys that don't wear shirts.
Yeah.
One of the first things they brought up in the interview was that I was invited to follow their lead and take my shirt off. And
Oh,
much as I
God.
like T-Pain, I didn't do it.
I think it's good to stand your ground. I was gonna ask you to sing a bunch a cappella for real, but I'm glad I didn't because you probably would have stuck to your guns and not done it.
I could have done some, but it's tricky doing songs. So I did do kind of, at least to date, my one and only live show about 1.5 years ago. And it was a ton of fun. It took quite a bit of preparation.
Mhm.
I
Sure.
used basically my own songs as backing tracks where I stripped out the vocals and such.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And it was really a fun experience because it has the advantage where if I make a mistake, it just goes off into the ether.
Yeah.
It doesn't persist forever, you know?
Right.
Right.
And I had a lot of really fun folks in the audience. I think we had a little over 80 people. We rented a room that would be like for, I don't know, wedding reception kind of thing.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And it was totally enabled by the fellow that brought it up in the first place. He was a local Americana artist named Luc LeBlanc.
Okay.
And Luke and I got to be friends as part of this. And he was kind of the opening act. And what really kind of was exciting for me and surprising was that there was a good chunk of the audience members that could sing along with every song I did.
Oh, no kidding. That's really cool.
Yeah, and I had not been expecting that.
Yeah. Probably like a humbling experience.
It was, humbling and flattering to feel
Yeah,
like I
flattering.
touched.
Yeah,
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
that's cool.
Very nice.
Yeah, I would have loved to have been there. I did see. I think it's in that same video. I haven't seen your live performance. I don't know if it's available. Is it in full
I
anywhere?
have it on YouTube. It's kind of a pay-per-view thing, and I
Okay.
haven't
Okay.
really done much to promote it.
But did you bring the sign that says no for?
Yes, I did actually.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I think I saw. Yeah. It says no for the "Can I kiss you?" Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's kind
That's
of like when I save my,
a good
sample
prop.
T-shirts and stuff. It's memorabilia in a sense, and I still have the piece of cardboard that says maybe on one side and no on the other.
Yeah, I love that. That would be a good either a good future sell off. If you ever like get on hard times, start selling all your stuff, that could go for a lot of money, I think.
Hmm.
Well,
Good prop.
if I'm
Good
on hard
prop.
times, it probably wouldn't go for very much at all.
Oh, no, I'd be the top bidder. I'd be up
Oh,
there.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as you probably remember, part of that video, and it was an updated version of the "Can I Kiss You" video. I was standing in the median of a local road,
Hmm.
and I decided, well, who stands in the median? People who are begging. So I thought, okay, well, if I don't have a sign, I'm not really a good beggar, and so that's how I came up with the idea for the sign.
Yeah. That's actually that's good.
Yeah. Very cool.
Okay.
Very cool.
Well, that's all my questions I have, Ronnie. You have some more questions,
So-
sir?
It's not a question, but we need some more holiday music, man. You got the Christmas song. We
Oh,
need we need a
yes.
whole album of Christmas music. We need some Halloween songs. I love it.
I think you could do Halloween real well.
I think
bet
Halloween
you
would go
could.
great with you.
Yeah, I could even maybe. You ever hear the Night Before Christmas song? This is Halloween. It's about
Mhm.
the
Yes.
town called
Yeah.
Halloween.
Oh yeah. My
I
children
think I could
were obsessed
probably
with it.
do a cover of that without training too hard.
Yeah.
I'd love it.
That would be
Yeah,
cool. The Santa Claus Rumble song is pretty good.
Hmm.
I enjoyed making that one, and actually, that one was recorded and kind of sat in my basement for years.
Really?
So it was off a cassette, and then I tweaked it a bit, added some drums and a little bit of post processing, and it was tricky to add the drums because there was one or two spots where I inserted an extra beat to a measure, so it was
Yeah.
really unplanned 5/4 for just a measure, and then back to 4/4.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, you play a lot of instruments. Is the piano? I've seen you play acoustic guitar, bass. Is drums something? I don't think I've seen you play drums. Is that something on your list, or is that something that you orchestrate through technology?
Through the technology,
Yeah.
basically.
Okay.
I actually have done a little bit of learning and research online about creating drum patterns, because if I program in the computer, I have to have some idea about boom chick,
Mhm.
boom chick, or
Yeah.
what's appropriate for a given type of song, given genre. And drums are one of the things that vary an awful lot from one type of song to the next. So, um, you know, I do see the occasional comment on my videos where people will say, "Oh, what time signature is this? It looks like you didn't even care," or whatever.
Now you care. It's
Yeah.
I have my struggle whenever I'm creating stuff is drums the most. I never have. There's no fluidity. How do I even say that word? Is fluidity a word?
It
I
is.
don't think it. Okay. I just do my best and just hope it works. And if it doesn't, maybe someone will tell me.
Yeah. One thing I've had a little bit of fun with is there's a company that makes software that's called Beat Machine,
Mhm.
and it has a lot of different kind of hip hop sounding um, instrumentation that you can use, and you can program it from scratch with any pattern you want. But it also comes with a bunch of MIDI files, MIDI, that
Mhm.
you can use as like a starting point, or you can just throw them in the Beat Machine. And some of it's clearly um, cribbed from popular 90s and 2000s hip hop. So
Mhm.
it's it kind of livens up whatever I'm trying to do as a starting point sometimes, to
Yeah.
grab something that someone who's musically competent has put together or even released.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
That makes it
Good.
kind of fun because you'll get something that's almost like I'm assuming you guys are kind of familiar with so-called trap music.
Mhm.
where there's a lot of dig it really fast,
Yeah.
you know, hi-hats or whatever.
Yeah.
And so and a little bit of that crept into Shelter, where there's a couple spots in there where when I listen to the song,
You can
and
see
I've
little
heard it
pieces of that.
more than a few times, I'm thinking like, there's one spot in there where I would take out that little bit of trap I had, but it was just kind of a repeating pattern, and
Yeah.
maybe it's
Mhm.
earwormish or something. But you
Yeah.
listen to songs after you do them, sometimes you think of things that you would have liked to do differently. But
Of course.
Yeah, and then you get so excited when you're making them. You're just like, okay, let's get it out. Let's get it out. And
Mhm.
then I still have
I
things I
think there are
listen back
lots of
to.
people
Yeah.
who struggle with letting go of something that they perceive as less than perfect, you know.
That sounds like a good setup for a new song.
That actually does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so true.
That sounds, that has RayonBase written all over it. That's good.
Yeah, well, that's sort of the theme of Goodbye Karen, only it would be applied to a song, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that song's transcended what it's meant to be because of the name. So we have to, you'll have to find a new path. Very cool.
Yeah.
Ronnie, do you have anything else?
No, you pretty much answered everything I wanted to know, to be honest. What about you, Flem?
Yeah. Do you have any questions for us about what's going on here?
Yeah, I'm curious how you guys got started.
Well, it's still fairly recent as far as like for the podcast thing. Here.
Yeah.
We Twitch streaming, and I think you would do good on Twitch. Have you done Twitch? Have you
I have not
streamed?
yet done any live or Twitch release type videos yet.
Well, in the future, we should try to get you on there and have you do something because I think that
Absolutely.
you would find it a lot of fun. I think you could. I think you would do really well,
Mhm.
especially with your like musicianship. Like you have a lot of instruments in your room. Automatically, that's like plus 10 points for people. They
Oh,
just want
yeah.
to see you play. Like I think it would be really neat.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, I could
Oh.
say, look what I bought. You know,
yeah, oh yeah,
Right, yeah.
over here or over here. My shot of-
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, the music
this rug
category is
on
very
my
popular.
wall is a gift from a friend of mine, and
That's
they
cool. That
gave it
should
to
be.
me like 3 or 4 years ago, and I still use it to
It's a good
create a
backdrop.
background here.
That's so
Yeah.
cool, yeah.
I do like that.
Yeah,
But we
it's a
mostly
very
play
nice
video
background.
games. Yeah. We were more video game inclined, and that was one of the questions I think we did have.
True.
You've been around for a while, I know, but through all this time, have you ventured in our world of gaming, or was it your world before it was ours?
Well, I'm kind of at the point where playing a game that requires highly refined reflexes isn't necessarily the most fun for me.
Mhm.
Actually, I've gotten almost as much fun lately out of word games like the New York Times publishes with their mini
Oh,
crossword and stuff like that.
they're fun.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a friend that we're always comparing notes. Like, did you get the mini crossword in less than 2 minutes?
Nice.
My favorite one of those is like the category. We got to pair 4 words to each. I don't know if you've played
That
that
one can
one.
be really tricky.
But it's a lot of fun. It's a real mind game. Having to
Yeah.
you got to find 4 things in common. We play those like me and my wife play those every day.
Yeah, that's one that I played where occasionally you get to the last group, which you can kind of do by elimination, right?
Yeah.
And then you really feel like whoever put it together was kind of like
Sadistic.
Torquemada, they were just twisting the knife,
Yeah. Yeah. How did they? There's no way they found something related between these 4 words. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. So,
Very
but in your
cool.
youth, did you Nintendo? Did you start off
Oh,
on
sure.
the system? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All that stuff.
Yeah. 'Cause
Nice.
I
Yeah.
think you're one of our first guests that really are outside of the realm of Twitch, I think. Would you say so?
I would definitely
Ronnie?
say like our first musician. Like,
Yeah, musician for sure.
yeah.
Um, yeah. So, but usually our questions are so fueled by like, what's your favorite game? How do you like this game? What are your opinions on, So it's cool to see someone outside of that.
especially being in music ourselves, so we can relate.
I wish I could say I'm actually in music, but you guys definitely take the
He is.
cake.
He is. No, I say you're in music. Yes.
Well, I think it's more of a attitude than it is necessarily, what you do on a day-to-day basis.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Well, I think that about sums it up for what I have. Ronnie, do you have anything else before we
No,
put
no,
a yeah?
you answered everything. I just want to say your music is awesome. I love your videos. I love everything about you. Keep doing it. I can't wait to hear more. I definitely want to get some merch, so you'll be seeing more of me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
And
Well, and if anyone's looking for the video that we took from the live performance, that's something we can set you up with too.
Awesome.
oh yeah, for sure. That would be really cool.
That would be
Um,
great.
follow RayonBase. I think you just kind of RayonBase on all platforms, right? Just
Yeah, tell
Yeah.
everybody where you can find you.
Instagram would be _RayonBase_.
mm,
Pretty much everywhere else, it's just RayonBase. I also have what's called a link pop account, and you can get to anything from there.
mhm.
Nice.
Or so it'd be linkpop.com/RayonBase. And then the merch store has a tab with links. So there's some good links there to like YouTube and such.
Okay.
Ooh,
Also
very
have a
nice.
Bandcamp page for people who might want a lossless digital download.
I've been on the
As much
Bandcamp.
as I'd like to do, vinyl album or something like that for people, it
That's a lot
doesn't
of work.
scale very well unless you can find 100 people who want to pay for something like that. And it might be a while.
I think we're gonna get there. I think you're gonna get there. I think that you're a gem, and I think it's gonna happen for you.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you.
Of
But
course.
anybody, this has been the Lack Thereof podcast, episode 24, and we will see you on the next one.